Hi everybody, so we are ready to build our Barbie frame. So I'm going to build it and film it at the same time. So there's just a couple of things I need to run through first. This is a box frame, which is the size we're going to be using, which is the 20 by 20 8 by 8. These was from the range for £3.89. This is bare wood, so you can paint these with acrylic paints. You don't need spray paints, or you can keep it plain. Hobbycraft do exactly the size frame as well, but their frame is white. Let me just grab one. This is another one that I've been working on, but just to show you, the inside's white and this outside. If you do want to be colouring your frames, this is not going to paint very well. It has got a coating on it already, so I'm guessing your acrylic paint will streak. So you will need to spray that if you decide you want a different colour. This is the spray paint I've sprayed my pink Barbie frame with, which is the gold NC acrylic. From filming this video, Hobbycraft do have it on offer at the moment for £6 a tin. So this is the colour. I also use the frozen raspberry, which is a darker colour, which is very similar to the backdrop that we're going to do, but this is the colour it comes out, just in case you want to go darker with it. So this is the frozen raspberry, but I've obviously gone ahead and sprayed mine in the frozen strawberry, just in case you want a different colour, like I said. Graphcity.com, their spray cans are on offer again. They're £5.95 on there for exactly the same. That is graff-city.com. So you're going to get 3 large sticks and 4 small sticks. I've gone ahead and obviously spray painted these to match the outside of my frame, which is in the frozen strawberry. However, if you've just got the white box frame and you just want the colour of your shelves slightly different, because these are wood, you can paint these with acrylic paints or whatever colour you like. You don't have to concentrate on the back part, because obviously that is going to be glued to the shelf. So you just need to paint the top and paint the bottom. So I've separated the frame and I've gone ahead and spray painted this. I've also sprayed the inside. This is the insert that I referred to earlier. And then obviously this is the back. This is all got glue on, because this is my demo back, but this is how yours is going to look. Just make sure that this is upright before you start gluing anything on. I know that sounds crazy, however, I've done it a few times where I've got ahead of myself and I start gluing things on, and then I turn it upside down and the hook's at the bottom. So you have either painted yours, spray painted yours, or left it white. You've popped everything out, including the glass. Make sure that this lip is on this side here. Then you're going to take this part of the box frame, you're going to line it up on your backing, and then you're going to take a pen and you're going to draw all the way around this square. That way it's going to tell you where this lip starts for your print. So these are the 2 prints that we're going to work on first. You've already put your mark around where the insert sits. This, you will see the block part. Make sure everything is upright and not upside down. So obviously the top layer is where your black part is. You're going to line this up on the mark that you have made. Then get yourself some PVA glue. This is really cheap. This was from Home Bargains. I think it was 99p or the range. I can't remember. I always get confused with those 2 shops. Don't use Mod Podge. It will bubble up your print. And also don't use a glue gun. Again, it will become really thick. You won't be able to spread it and it will become very lumpy bumpy. So I've let these 2 parts dry. So now we're going on to the insert of your box frame, like we mentioned at the beginning of the video. Yours might be white or you might have painted it. This is now going to lay on the top of the back part. No PVA with this, otherwise you're going to be waiting a good 12 hours for it to dry. This is the tacky glue I'm going to be using to stick this on. This is Crafter's Pick. Now, the range do a cheaper version, which is this super tacky glue. However, this is going to take, again, a good couple of hours to dry. But this is certainly stronger than the PVA glue. So you need to flip this part over. You need to get a cocktail stick, a tiny little brush, and run whatever glue you have decided with. Just no glue guns with this because it won't sit flat. And you're going to glue all the way around here. And then once you've glued that, you're going to flip that back over and you're going to line it up with your back piece like this. So I've let that dry. So the next part you need to do is you need to get your main frame. I know we build kits differently, but this kit you need to put this on next. So I've gone ahead of time as always, like I said at the beginning, and I've spray painted this. So you need to now pop this over here and just click it all into place. So I've now got my main frame on and the insert of the box frame. So you should be at this progress. You've glued this on first, this over the top. You've glued the insert on and then obviously the frame. So in the kit, you will also get a frame that looks like this. Obviously yours is going to be flat. The easiest way to fold these is not score them because it can drag out all the colour, is to fold it over. Let me just move you slightly. Get a ruler and you will see where it needs to be folded. So take that edge here, go all the way down and line it up. Then you're going to bend this over your ruler. You're going to do the same on the other side. So take that corner, line it up, bend the excess over your ruler. Like this. Then you're going to flip it over, and then you will also see from there to there where your ruler needs to be. So measure up these corners, flip it over, and then just run your finger along it. That way what it'll do is it'll score all the edges where it needs to be. And then you'll have no perforation, or you won't have any drag colour with that. This is now going to pop into here. You're not gluing this yet, we're just popping it in. So adjust it. Obviously some of the frames are not square, but it's fine. Just line it up, you will see where it needs to go. Like this. Then once that's popped in, you're going to need to go into your kit, whether you've painted them or left them, or, you know, it's completely up to you, and get the small lollipop sticks. Now you need to cut off the rounded edge here, and you need to pop this inside here, and then cut it off where this ridge ends here. So obviously cut that piece off there, that'll sit flat onto your frame, so push it against your frame, and then you'll see you can mark a line where this ridge ends here. You're going to do that with one for your bottom, the next for your middle shelf, and the next for your top shelf. So you will have 3 sticks evenly with your small sticks. So I've cut my 3 sticks. Now, just in case this splits, you must put pressure with both fingers when you cut it. So don't hold it lightly while you cut it, because it will split. Hold it like your life depends on it and your fingers go white. Cut it off flip it over, cut it off to the other side, again squeezing it really tight, that'll stop it splitting. So once you've got your 3 parts, I'm now going to tacky glue this part here and this part here. I'm going to lift up this frame here, keeping it in place. Obviously we haven't glued this yet, and I'm going to pop that underneath and tacky glue that on here. I'm going to repeat the process, lifting this piece up, tacky gluing this underneath, keeping it as tight as I can to this frame here. And then I'm going to do the same again on this part here. So keep this on, this is a guide. Obviously you've cut your sticks to this level here, so once this is folded over and it's all glued on, it will sit nice and tightly underneath like this. So once you're happy with the placement of your shelving and it's gone up to this edge, bearing in mind this isn't glued, but as long as it's sitting flat to here and you have measured right the way underneath there to this crease here, when this folds over and we glue it all together, this is going to sit on this shelf here. So you cannot go wrong if you have used this guide here for your shelf size. So I'm going to lightly pull this over like this, because obviously the shelves are now stuck on this side. I'm going to get a cocktail stick and some tacky glue, and I'm going to run it along this edge here. I'm also going to put some tacky glue here, here, and down there. So I've run some tacky glue along this edge, a little bit at the top. Don't worry about that join because it all folds into the frame. Some tacky glue on 3 parts. Now I'm going to carefully push this under the frame and take the bottom part under the frame. Let it just naturally pop, just be careful with it. Then I'm going to tuck this down this line here, let it naturally fall, and run my fingers along it, push it along if need be, bearing in mind we've got a counter to go on here. Then I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on these 3 points that I glued as well. Run my nail down this part here. Make sure it's all lined up. Like I say, you're not going to see these corner edges because the counter's going to go in there, so don't worry so much if you've overlapped it slightly or you haven't got it quite straight. Then I'm just going to run some tacky glue again along this part here, because what I want to do is just encourage that frame just to sit on this edge of the last shelf. So I'm just going to push that down slightly and then run some tacky glue. Sorry, I was holding a coffin then. It's so silent in here. So cocktail stick, or this is the first thing I picked up, or a little brush. Just run it along the inside of here. Wipe all the excess off really quickly. I know I should have used a cocktail stick. Cocktail sticks are so much better. If you've got any glue on your shelves, pull that out, wipe it off pretty quick. I've got no wipes in here. And then you're going to hold that against this bottom part here. Don't push it too much because you don't want a huge gap at the bottom. So if you are starting to get a gap, just push your frame down slightly and just let it naturally. You probably won't be have to do this part, if I'm fair. It just basically just gives it a little bit more support. Like this. So while that's drying and you've got your glue out, you just need to get the large Barbie sign from your kit and this circle Mattel sign. I've just glued mine. I just thought it'd be quicker than me faffing filming it. Like I say, I haven't got much memory on my phone. So I've just placed some tacky glue along here and I've angled mine. You might want yours upright, it's completely up to you. And you just tacky glue that on. You can push it, obviously there's a little bit of wood shelf at the back as well. So just be careful with it, just give it a bit of a tap. And again, just put some tacky glue on the back of here. And then I've lined mine up on this corner edge there. So the next part, I'm just going to move this over here. I'm going to move you over. So the next part is the counter. Now just bearing in mind, not all these are fully square, the frames. So this is why we do build with the frame on. It just, you know, so we can sort of try and level out everything the best that we can. So this is the dark edges. So we're going to crease these like we did the counter with the ruler. Then you're going to get 2 of your small lollipop sticks. So the best way is to flip it over, line your ruler up on the edge, and then you can bend this over. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to do this off camera because I can't do it through the lens. One sec. That was a bit quicker. You can also sort of like just bend them from the join as well, and then just run your fingers down them. But you know, just work on a flat surface and then just pop your ruler over it just to bend those. So this is going to look now something like this. So we're going to pop it inside here. Like I say, your frame might be slightly off. You can see mine runs out just a little bit, but I don't think it's going to matter by the time we've sort of like glued all this in. I don't want to be gluing this to this part again because it might sort of like get everything down at an angle with the frame being slightly off. So once we've sort of like measured it, again, if your frame is slightly off, you might need to bend yours slightly more or slightly less. Just, you know, just make sure, I guess they will fit like mine is, because obviously they're all the same size frame. So you need to get these 2 smaller lollipop sticks, and we're going to glue these on the inside of this part here. So I'm going to again cut off the rounded edge, and then I'm also going to cut it off here as well. So I've cut both my sticks. I've took off the little rounded edges and I've measured them like this, and I'm going to now tacky glue these, one on this side and one on this side. So I've tacky glued these. Now we're just going to strengthen up the inside of this counter. You might want to get a stick, a bamboo skewer. The easiest thing really is just to use a straw. So just get yourself a straw, pop your straw on the inside so it touches each part of the wood. Then I'm just going to tacky glue a little bit on each side, and then just run some tacky glue along here as well. Then I'm going to sit that in there, keep hold of it while it dries. So I've just popped some glue on. It's just easier for me to stop angling the camera for you all to see me just gluing a straw into the counter. So I've just glued it at the back like you say, and this side and this side, and I'm just holding it now and I'm pushing it, and I'm just going to give it a few more minutes just for it to adhere. I did go ahead of time and did make myself a cup of tea and a loo break. If you know, you know. So when this is all dry, we're going to flip it back over, and then this is going to sit on the inside of here. We will be putting a little countertop on this. So just make sure, again, everything fits. This is ideal, especially when your straw is still drying. That way you can adjust anything. So while your straw is still drying, just make sure that it's still sitting in here, because what you don't want to do is get everything dried, then you slot it in, and then it decides it doesn't really want to fit, or you've gone a little bit too wide with it. So the next part, once we've done this, is we're going to run some tacky glue along this back part here, and here. What you might want to do, depending on how you've cut yours, you might have a little tiny bit of excess of paper. If obviously your frame is really out, I need to tacky glue that again, I haven't held it long enough. You can just trim off these parts here. That way your tacky glue can sit actually on the wood and not on this part of the paper. So you can see my frame is slightly out by a few mil. Again, you might have more, you might have less. It is just the way the frames are. So I'm just going to hold this, and then I'm just going to take this, just snip this extra card bit off, and then I've only got a little bit that side as well. That way, like I say, the glue is going to adhere to the stick instead of the paper. So once it's more or less dry, obviously mine is still drying because I'm filming this as I'm building it, just flip your frame down. It's just better to work on a flat surface with this. I know I've had mine sort of like upright so you can see what I'm doing. However, I do find it easier to stand above the frame and build it that way. I think if you sit down and you're trying to lean over, it doesn't, well, mine never ends up square. It's always ski width. So now I'm happy with this. Obviously mine is still drying, but it will, by the time I've sort of like glued this and held it, it should be all right. So I'm going to tacky glue along here and down this ridge here. Obviously I've trimmed some of the paper off. You can give it another little trim if you've still got a lot of paper. Slide this in and then push it to the bottom. Then you're just going to hold the sides where the sticks are and then glue that into place. So I've glued the sticks, and while the sticks are still wet, just pop your finger on the inside. Just be careful you don't get glue all over your fingers, and then use a clean finger and just push that, because sometimes what happens is these will sort of like go off to the side slightly. So just make sure that that is sat as flat as you can get it, and the same with this side as well. So we're going to let that dry, and we're going to move on to building the boxes. We're going to put obviously the countertop on, but I'm not going to faff with the countertop until I know that is stuck. So you're going to get 2 each of these little boxes. Obviously they haven't got backs on, they're just so much easier to build without the backs, and you don't need them once they're sort of sat flat on your shelving. So there's loads of different designs. Like say you'll get 2 of each of these, and you'll also get one little bus box as well. So the easiest way to build these, let's just pick a random one. Oh, it's raining now. Is just to fold all the way along these flaps here. You might want, again, just get a little ruler. It's completely up to you, but these boxes, they're only about, I don't know, just over an inch big, some of them are a little bit smaller. So this is obviously going to be the fiddliest part of the build. So you might want to go ahead of time and make these before you start. So we've created the box. So you need to get yourself some sellotape. Don't worry if you've got fingerprints on it, it will cover up. You're going to run your sellotape along this edge here and pick up these corners. This stops you from using any tacky glue and getting glue everywhere. So I'm going to try and do it through the camera if I can. Then you're going to flap this bit over, and then flap this bit over. So now you've sellotaped each corner. Trim off all the excess, which I need to do quickly off camera because these scissors are terrible. Then you just need to do a little slice with your scissors and fold this sellotape inside the box. Keeping everything together. Oh, it is raining. Don't worry if you've sort of like not folded it perfectly, because what we do in the end is we'll just trim it all the way around if you have got a bigger edge on one side, for example. So then we're going to do the same again. We're going to run the sellotape along this side, then on this side, and then on this side. So all the corners have joined together. So keep it together with your fingers. get your sellotape, just place it on the edge, try and keep away from the print for now, flap that over, flap that bit over, trim off the excess and then tuck it underneath. So I'm just going to carry on with all 4 corners and then I'll be back. So once you've run just the edging of the sellotape all the way around your box, that has now stopped you from using your tacky glue. You're then going to get another piece of sellotape once all your sides are joined, and you're going to place this over the top of the print. That way it just makes your box nice and shiny. Just fold this over, flip the other side and then fold this one over as well, and then just tuck all your edges in all the way around. Smooth it all out, just cut any excess sellotape off, like this part here, which I'll do in a second off camera. Then you've created your little shiny boxes. So you'll need to repeat this process with all your boxes depending on how many you're putting in. So you might want to build them all, or you might want to just build one at a time and then decide. But let's say you have got 2 of each. So exactly the same in this. This is obviously a slightly different shape. You can double layer over, so if one of your boxes is too wide and your sellotape doesn't hit all the way over, or you've got really thin sellotape, just run 2 strips along the top. Like I say, once you flatten everything down, you cannot see any joins in the sellotape, so you don't have to worry about that. So same with this, fold it all the way round. Line all your corners up. Then run your sellotape along this part here, snip it off and tuck it underneath. Flip it over, run your sellotape along this part. So you're just concentrating on the lip. That all then just keeps all your boxes together. Then you just need to put your sellotape over the top, tuck everything inside the little square. So I've gone ahead and I've done it all with the edges all the way around. There's a few little bits and pieces that I just need to trim. I haven't done 2 of each, I've just sort of like picked random ones. So I've obviously got 2 of these ones that I've done. So it all works the same, and then you can just go round, trim all the excess off, neaten everything up. I have been trying to use those really bad scissors that I've got. I do find it easier maybe just to use some little mini nail scissors or some proper little crafting scissors. The cheaper ones, the sellotape tends to stick to the blade, and it's a bit of a nightmare and a bit bulky to cut on these little boxes. So you need to build all your boxes, cover them in sellotape. You don't have to be, again, too mad with sellotape. It's just to give him sort of like a shine, because once everything is stuck on, you're only really going to see the front of them anyway. So you've completed all your boxes, or you are in the middle of doing your boxes, shall we say. Let's say there is a lot. I have put 2 in of each because you might want your shelves really full. Again, you might want to save these if you are doing another project as well. You want something else to match. At least you've got 2 of each. The only one that you will get single of is this little bus, because I'm obviously going to put mine on the counter, but you might want to put yours somewhere else. So you need to go back now to your large lollipop sticks. Again, I've got ahead of time because I keep saying about cutting the corners off. You need to cut your rounded edges off on your stick for this counter. Just measure it up. So the best way to do it is, if you're starting with a long stick like this, is to place it just over this part here and then score that or mark it with a little pen, and do the same again on this side. Bearing in mind it is going to sort of like sit on this lip here. So measure it up, cut your rounded edges off, and then just pop your counter inside just to make sure before you start gluing anything that it does sit. I'll pick that off in a second. It's a tiny little bit of glue. So once you're happy with it, you then need to pop some tacky glue just in this corner here and in that corner there, some tacky glue along this part of the paper, and then on the back of your stick. That way when you pop everything in, it will sit nicely. Don't push this counter too far in and out. Just let it naturally sit on top of the glue that you've just placed. As you can see, I've just put my glue there. I've run it along here. Again, just make sure that you wipe off any overspill. I've just used a bamboo skewer like I do and just tap that on. I've also just put the glue at the back of my shelf. So again, you might just want to wipe it while it's still wet. Then you're going to flip it over and then carefully just slide it in. Push it at the back because that's where it's mainly going to sit, is at this back part of the shelf. Use your nail or a little cocktail stick. Slightly tap it just so it adheres to these corners. Push it all in. Like I say, the counter will naturally just sort of like fall on that edge that you've glued. So if you've got any little bits of glue, just again pick them off. Give them a wipe with a stick, and then you need to let that dry. So the next part is this part here. You might want to put a shelf along here. I probably wouldn't along there. The gap is quite small, depending if you're having anything on your counter. You might want to get yourself some little Barbie shoes or some little mini accessories. It's completely up to you. So with this, again, we're going to cut the corners off, and I'm just going to have a shelf just in this one here. I quite like the backdrop of everything. I'm going to have a ribbon of some sort in this corner as well. So you might just want to have just a play about before you commit and stick anything onto it. Again, I've gone ahead of time and I've just literally just cut the edges off, measured how long my shelf is, and this is your guide of your shelving area here. So that's going to sit nicely onto there. Again, I'm going to tacky glue this. I'm not going to tacky glue it to this side, only because if the shelf starts flopping about while it's drying, it's then going to drag loads of glue all down this part and you're going to see it. So I'm not going to concentrate on that. And obviously the boxes are really light, so it doesn't need any stability either. So get yourself your tacky glue. So I keep saying about tacky glue, you can use, like I said earlier, you can use this one. I have been sticking with this one. However, if it becoming where you want to stick something a lot more, like I'm going to now with this part, then I was going to go on to the crafter's pick, because it's just so much stronger. It adheres so much better and it stops everything flopping about. So get your shelf. Choose which end you're going to go to. Again, if you are wanting to paint these, I would paint these first. Some of the builds we paint afterwards, but you know, there's a lot of back print on this, so you don't want to be getting all your paint all over your Barbie print, that's all. So I'm just going to concentrate just on this back here with the stronger glue. Wipe off any excess. Then I'm just going to line it up with this guide that's on the print. You don't, don't be doing it the way I'm doing it, with your frame is upright. You need this frame flat. I'm only showing it this way because it's just easier for you to see. So once you've adhered this to here, your frame is going to be flat like this. And you're going to wait for that now to dry. You might want to take this part right the way underneath. If you do, you're going to need a smaller shelving. I've gone for the bigger shelving with this because obviously I went for the smaller shelving in this side. But if you use a smaller stick, that will sit right on this lip here. These are obviously too wide, as you can see. They don't sort of like fit into this frame piece here. Because I've got this flat as well, this is now, I just need to pull it upright and then push that back in. Can you see where the glue's still wet there? So I'll sort that out in a second. So you just need to, if you're using these, you can glue it to this part here. If you're using these, you're going to obviously have a gap slightly each side. So let me just flip this over, and I'm just going to get a cocktail stick, and I'm going to show you, just in case this has happened to you. Slightly lift up this part here, your counter will naturally pop out. Can you see? If it doesn't, you can get a little cocktail stick, and then I'm just going to place it back down and tap it. So I'm going to wait for all this to dry. So again, you can get ahead of time. You might want to put your shelving in first, and then start building your boxes while everything's drying. It's completely up to you. So I'll let that dry, and then we'll go on to the next part. My shelf is still a little bit wet. It is getting there. So while you're either building your boxes or you're waiting for bits and pieces to dry, just make sure that it is pretty tacky before you start putting anything obviously on your shelves. So you can just gather all your boxes, and now what I'm going to do is just start placing bits and pieces, moving the boxes about of where I feel like they look nice. Obviously you're going to probably have had 2 of each of these, so you might want yours right the way along your shelves built up like this. Or you might want to keep them flat and just resting on your shelf. So you just need to have a play about with your boxes first. Once you've had a play about and you're more or less happy where all your boxes are going to go, you just need to get yourself, again, the strong tacky glue. Tacky glue this along the bottom. Now, if you are sitting it on the back of your shelf, so you're pushing it on this part here, which, you know, you can do, or you might want them loose. Obviously, you don't want them too far forward on your shelf. I would keep them to the back. If it was me, that's the way I'm going to do mine. So I'm going to tacky glue this part here. Then I'm just going to run some tacky glue along this square. Place it where I want it. Hold the shelf underneath so it adheres to the glue. And then push these boxes onto the print. So you need to complete this all the way around, doing exactly the same, the bottom and the back part of the box. Then as you're gluing it in, just squeeze your boxes at the side. That way it'll just sort of like make it sit square. So I'm just going to go glue all these in. So I've glued all my boxes into place. Now, because there's sellotape on them, these are going to take a little bit longer to set, because obviously the sellotape, it's not like just gluing your cardboard onto the back cardboard. So don't get stressed with it, just put everything on. This was the first one that I put on, and now it's adhering to itself, but it has took a good 5 or 10 minutes just for it to start setting. You're going to need to get yourself some strong some of this strong stuff. The cheaper stuff is not going to stick, or it will eventually, but it's just going to be a little bit harder for yourself. So you can see my glue is still drying slightly in a few of the corners of the boxes. So I've got the bus on here, a little outfit on there, some little boxes up here. I've stuck them to the back with the glue. Some little bit on here. I'm absolutely gutted because I had a baby wipe and it just took a little bit of the colour off there, so I might just have to put something on there. I'll see. I'm hoping it might dry. Yeah, baby wipes, keep them away from your print. Now I've also printed out a little mini Barbie sandwich match that is just shrunk down, so this is in your kit as well. I've just put mine on the shelf. These are, it wasn't an extra printout, there was in the kits, but I didn't know whether I wanted something on this corner. But we did discuss about the ribbon, so I want to put a ribbon in this corner. However, I am going to glitter my frame. Whether I regret this or not, I don't know. But I'm going to see, because I feel like it needs some glitter. So I'm going to use the iridescent white glitter pot. These were from the range. If not, just get yourself some fine white. So if it all goes wrong, you don't have to do it, so I'm going to try it anyway. So I'm going to use some of the cheap PVA glue, get myself a decent paintbrush, if I've got such a thing. Well, I've got a new pack actually, haven't I? but this is the one we started using, so I'll use this. It's gone a bit hard, but it'll be all right. So I'm not going to be able to do this on camera because otherwise I'm going to get glitter everywhere. So I'm going to put my PVA just along this part. I'm not going to do the inside here because this is the only part you're going to see. I'm going to just pop it round here. I'm not going to do this lip either. If you are going to glitter it, I've decided at the last minute, you need to glitter it first before you start putting all your bits and pieces on. It's just going to be so much easier for you. But I didn't know whether I was going to add glitter or not, but I'm going to. And then I'm going to show you the results. So I don't want to use my glue along this part. It's too thin. Glitter's just going to get everywhere. And I just want to concentrate just on this outside square. So I'm going to PVA this outside. I'm then going to put it over the bin or over a little tray, catch as much glitter as I can, and I'm going to sprinkle this all over where I've put my glue. Now, if I've finished it and I don't like it, I'm going to get a baby wipe to it straight away and wipe it all off. But I'm going to go do that and then I'm going to show you the result. So I've glittered it and I've decided I absolutely love it. So I've just gone around the edging with all the glitter and the PVA. It's obviously still a little bit tacky. I think it just sort of like sets it off really nicely. I will go over it again, like I said, just to seal the glitter. I have put an extra strip on here. You won't get the join here because of obviously that little splodge that I had earlier and it was really annoying me. So I've just cut an extra strip. So the last thing to go on the frame is the bow. These will come already like this in your kits because I know a lot of you do struggle tying them. So this is the only time you're going to need your glue gun, is just to stick this on. Your glue gun is just going to stick so much better. So I've just popped a little bit of glue on there and I'm just going to aim for this corner. It's so cute, very girly. Now we've got all the glitter on. And that is it. We are finished. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Cannot wait to see your creations. And I will see you all very soon. Bye everybody.